we saw Dickens's home when we went to London, and we spent the majority of the trip in London, and I think by the end of the trip we were all ready to skip the plane ride home and just rent flats. So we loved London. London was our favorite thing.
I had trouble getting them to the airport.
So Dickens was born in 1812. He lived in many flats throughout London, but the museum dedicated to his works is located at his house at 48 Doughty Street? Doughty Street. He began his work as a novelist by publishing books in different installments, so his novels were serialized, and a lot of times, we read Oliver Twist for the course. You'd see that there would be one section of the novel would end, and it would end like on a cliffhanger, like, oh, what's going to happen to Oliver? So it was just interesting to put that in perspective and think about how they published novels back then, because that was a major way that it was done, rather than just publishing everything in one big volume. So he gained recognition because of these installments, and he produced many novels. He was a very prolific author. I forget how many novels exactly he produced, but it was a ridiculous amount. It was amazing. So some of his most famous works include Oliver Twist, Great Expectations, and Christmas Carol. They've been turned into stage productions and movies, and while we were in London, we saw a production of Oliver Twist, which was really cool because it was different from the novel, but it was interesting seeing the characters brought to life on stage. And like Oliver Twist, most of Dickens's works deal with the exploitation of children and the moral corruption of society. Also, when we were in class, we were discussing the fact that when Dickens was younger, his parents took him out of school, and he had to get a job in London, and he would have a 3-mile walk back and forth from his house to work, and on his way he would see all of the different he would see all of the corruption and all of the poverty of London, and this was fuel for his future works. So that was part of how he depicted London in his novels. There's just a picture of the outside of the museum. And then here there's a portrait of Dickens. There's one of his books there. And there's the door knocker from his childhood home. So we experienced his house as he knew it. There are many relics of his life, including a door knocker from one of the homes he lived in, portraits from his life, and original manuscripts of his works. And also, we put this on here. It was we asked the tour guide if anyone had ever seen ghosts or anything there, and she said that in Mary Hogarth's room. Well, first of all, Mary Hogarth was Dickens' sister's wife, and Dickens was supposedly his wife's sister. What did I say? Sister. Oh, okay. Well, he was his wife's sister. Mary Hogarth was his wife's sister, and he supposedly was in love with her. And it was said that she died in his arms, because I think she had tuberculosis.
Everybody had tuberculosis.
Everybody had tuberculosis.
Right.
So she died in Dickens's arms, and he wore her ring after her death. And on the left is a picture of her bedroom. That's the bed where she died. And visitors are said to have felt chills and gusts of wind rush past them in that room. And then on the right, there's, that was my favorite room. It was Dickens's library. And the room is just literally lined with bookshelves and books. And it's beautiful. So visitors can have a look at the books that line the walls and sign the guest book at the center of the room. A worker once reported that after locking the room with no one else in the house, she returned to find the door unlocked and open. That's it.
While we're waiting, one thing I wanted to say about the Globe Theater is that what I found really interesting was that it was created, the idea to replicate the Globe Theater was actually by an American who went to London to go see it, and all he saw was a plaque. So he said, this is unacceptable. So he spent his entire life trying to fundraise and get money for it and replicating the entire Globe Theater, and it's really beautiful. It's made with all the original materials. Actually, it's completely made of oak. So, and that takes a really long time to grow. They're it's amazing. honestly, if you go to London, you should definitely go see the Globe Theater.